everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm gonna bring you guys my June wrap up. I was gonna say June wrap up. We're just starting in July. Okay, oh wow. For the month of June, I didn't really finished a lot of books. 5 books. Yeah, June was a pretty hard month as well, for everybody, honestly, and just it was very stressful. So I wasn't able to read as much as I wanted to, as much as I used to. So I guess it's going to be a very short wrap up, hopefully. So the first 3 books that I read are the second, third, and fourth book in the 9 Realms series by Kozloff. I listened to all of the books through audio. So I rated the second book 3 stars, I rated the third book 4 stars, and also the fourth book 4 stars. In this series, in this quartet, I guess you could call it, we are following Cerulean, who is the heir to, or the crown princess to the throne of Arendelle. Her and her mother had to leave and flee their country because there was a potential uprising that's gonna happen. So they had to run away, and she had to be left behind by her mother in the care of somewhat strangers for them, and she goes through a whole adventure because her mother is able to control people's minds, and so these people that she gives Cerulean to, she distorts their memory. So instead of remembering that she's the crown princess of Arendelle, they think of her as just an orphan that they found and decided to take in. And so Cerulean has had to keep her true identity a secret, but also be able to adapt and pretend to be someone else. And throughout the book, she pretends to be a lot of things. Like every different book, she has a different name. And I love that whenever she changes her name, we also change, or the author, or it's written in third person, so we also change the way we call her. Like her original name is Cerulean, then she went by Rin, and then she went by Ren. She went by Ren, and then she went by Skylark, and there was another name that she went with. I completely forgot. I have a bad memory, by the way, so yeah, that is pretty much what the whole series is about. And in the second book, there's a whole war going on throughout the 9 Realms, and she had to leave her adoptive family and joins this group of raiders who have been trying to fight against the Oromondos. The Oromondos are the ones who are trying to take over a lot of places. She joins this group and takes a whole different character. She helps them with their fight, and then in the third book they get separated. In the fourth book, she goes to another adventure. It's all taking place in different places in the 9 Realms, all throughout the 9 Realms, because we're not just following her, we're following characters that are related to her, or might not completely be related to her, but also they're all like connected to each other throughout this whole journey of Cerulean going back to Arendelle and taking her throne, and also dealing with the war and helping people with the war, but also trying to keep her identity a secret. And she's pretty much alone, but she meets a group of people who care about her as well. I really enjoyed the different relationships that are formed throughout the series, especially the friends and the family that she has come to meet and form relationships with. Although I do really like the characters, and I don't really have anybody that I don't feel okay with. I mean, we have characters obviously that are like the main characters and they're protagonists, and they're obviously likable, but you also have characters that are not likable, and they're written that way. I more so really enjoy the world building, because there are 9 realms in this book, and so I really enjoyed reading about the different cultures and the different traditions and how they kind of interact with each other, as the 9 realms, they're all like interacting with each other, like politically and in an economic kind of way. So it was very, very interesting to read and learn about that. Overall, I would give this series a 3.75 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading more of Sarah Kozloff's book if she is going to release more. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a really great young adult high fantasy. I mean, it's really good. I enjoyed reading it. It was fun. Okay, so the next book that I finished is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. This is a reimagining of Mary Bennet's story. So this is a retelling from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, but we're focusing on Mary Bennet, and she's pretty much the only sister that we don't really get a lot of. We don't really get a story from her from Pride and Prejudice. She's very much overlooked in the whole book, and so Janice Hadlow, the author, decides to write her own story, and I really enjoyed that. We kind of not really delved a lot in what's happening during the Pride and Prejudice, like part of this part of Mary's story. It's still, you know, it's obviously still very much significant to her story because it affects her family and obviously affects her too. But I just love how we don't get, it didn't feel like just a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from Mary's point of view. We're actually following Mary as her own character. This is her book. I really appreciated that, and I love Pride and Prejudice. The only thing that I didn't like about this is there were a lot of comments about roles of women, or that's what women do, and you know, as a woman, for a woman who enjoys this, her interests and stuff. And just like there's a lot of comments regarding that, which I guess kind of I understand why those comments were made, especially because the author isn't obviously, you know, didn't experience how it was during this era, because I didn't find any, if at all, in a lot, or if at all, comments about being a woman or as a woman or for a woman kind of, you know, dialogues from other characters from the original book, which was surprising to me because I thought it would be like that, and I was on the lookout for it because I understand how it was before, and so I'm very cautious when it comes to reading books that are set before. As a woman myself, I don't really appreciate when, you know, women are told they can only be like pretty much like breeders, which I understand during that era, that's how women are seen. It kind of gets on my nerves when books are like that. I understand, again, you know, as a product of its time, but I did not feel even a little bit from reading Pride and Prejudice, which surprised me in a very good way. So seeing or reading it here in the retelling, I kind of understand where it's coming from because the author is aware of the differences in how women are viewed now compared to how they were before. So I get where those kind of comments could have come from. So that's the only thing that I kind of didn't like about the story. I rated this a 4 stars, by the way, but I truly loved reading about Mary's experience and the way she changes, and it feels organic about her. It didn't feel forced because she is seen as a wallflower, and in this book she really truly accepts who she is, or like learns who she is, and she lets go of the idea of the very rigid ideas that she has. She doesn't completely like get rid of, you know, her love for education at all. She didn't get rid of that, and I love that about her. She loves learning, she loves reading, she loves educating herself, and when she believes in something, she truly believes in it and she stands firm with it. But she understands fully what she believes, and she doesn't just believe in something because it appeals to her. Like, she wants to learn more about the things that she enjoys, which I truly, again, I appreciate about someone who loves to keep learning myself. And I also love, again, her growth, but also the people around her. Mrs. Gardiner gave her really like the best environment for her to blossom into who she is and to, you know, come into her as her true self. And I also love, of course, the romantic interest. He is one of the best male characters that I've read in books. He loves poetry, but he's also a lawyer. So those are two very different things. A lawyer is someone who, you know, knows and adheres to the laws. They have a very rigid intellectual kind of attitude or like personality. But as someone who also loves poetry, you can see how he also has an appreciation of the things around him out of context. It's pretty much the opposite of being someone, a lawyer, you know, very rigid versus very creative and open. And it really shows in his character. I really love how Tom Hayward, that's his name, is truly his own self throughout the series. Like, he understands that how he acts might not be how people expect him to act, but he doesn't feel defensive about it. But at the same time, he's just like, well, this is me, you know, whatever. But he's still respectful and kind and smart. I really love the relationship that they have built between the two of them, Mary and Tom, because it's based on, you know, mutual friendship and understanding, and they truly like each other as a person. And I really enjoy that. Another thing I didn't like was the misunderstanding aspect. I kind of was so anxious during that part. I hate misunderstandings, miscommunications in stories, especially in terms of Tom and Mary, who are pretty honest with their feelings, pretty straightforward. But again, in their society that they live in, I understand why they kind of had that miscommunication. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a really big, bad kind of miscommunication, which I appreciate, which was so great. I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time during the whole like ending part, because I'm just like, oh no, please don't make this really bad. It wasn't. It was great. I really liked it. Okay, and the last book that I finished for this month month is So You Want to Talk About Race by Iljeoma Oluo. And I listened to this in audiobook because I don't have the physical book. The ebook also is unavailable, or it's gonna take a few more weeks before I'm able to borrow it. But the audiobook, I was able to listen to it, and this is truly so educational. And I really enjoyed how Iljeoma outlined the book, how she wrote the book, because it's like she's talking about different topics every chapter, her own experiences, and at the end, or around by the end of each chapter, she gives specific ways that you can unlearn or relearn or do something about these actions, these ideas that are racist, pretty much, because this is about race. I also enjoyed her talk about her chapter about model minorities, because that's also a big thing, especially with the Black Lives Movement, with other people saying all lives matter, or other minority groups are being pitted against each other, saying that we have model minorities, why can't you be like the model minorities? And I really loved her take on that, and it was just truly educational. I mean, there's still a lot more that I truly need to learn, and as someone who hasn't lived in the US for a very long time, I've only been here for 2 years, I definitely need to understand the whole American culture as well, and the difference between being white and black, and being Asian versus black, all of that in between. So this is only the first book that I've read in terms of Black Lives Matter. So I have decided that I'm going to read White Fragility and White Rage as well, just so that I could get a better understanding the Black Lives Matter movement in terms of where I live, which is here in the US. I'm planning on buying a physical book so that I can keep rereading it and like reminding myself of different things that I need to check on myself. I don't know if I should rate this book, but if I would rate it as a 5, because this was truly educational, but at the same time, because Iljeoma gives a lot of different ways that we can improve ourselves to be more anti-racist. It's definitely, also very helpful because it's concrete in those ways. I mean, obviously, we don't need to be told exactly what to do all the time. It has to be a natural thing for us, but, it helps to know where you can start with. So yeah, those are all. I'm still struggling to kind of go back into like really sitting down and reading. So because most of these books I read in audiobook, the other Bennet sister I read in ebook form. But yeah, those are all the books that I read for the month of June. I tried to make this as short as I could, but I ramble, and sometimes it's hard for me to express truly what I want to say. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next one. Bye.